Sierra Busch, and I'm the founder of Creative Edge Travel. So we help people experience Italy's far-flung places, fading traditions, and phenomenal nature through genuine connection with the local people. So I've been doing these lives every week, every Wednesday at 2 p.m. Eastern Time. So make sure you add that to your calendar to catch us every week. Sometimes we interview other people. We bring on my local friends so you can get to know them, our partners, to hear about the experiences we do in Italy. And we're always open to whatever topics you would like us to cover. So leave a comment and let us know. This week's topic, before I jump into that, just want to say this is a coffee chat. So here's my coffee. As usual, I have decaf with oat milk, and it's delicious. Oh, so comforting coffee. Okay, so if you guys are tuning in, please leave me a comment. Let me know you're here. It really helps a lot to see actual names popping up so I can say, okay, there are actual humans watching this. I'm not just looking at myself on the screen. So please do leave me a comment and say hello. Today's topic is 5 ways to feel like a local in Florence. And oh, it was so nice to put this together because it allowed me to reminisce on my memories of Florence, which are so beautiful. And since I can't travel this year because of coronavirus, it was really nice to take that walk down memory lane. And now I'm really excited to kind of share some things that I've discovered when I was living in Florence and through my friends there. Okay, so, whoops, I want to get to where I can see your comments. This is always tricky to set up so many things. Okay, so the first way, number 1, which first of all, it was so hard to narrow things down to 5 tips, but I managed to cram a lot together. So, number 1 is to catch local events. There's a bookshop called Todomodo, and they host a lot of like readings and storytelling events and poetry. And that even if it's in Italian, they have some that are in English, but even if it's in Italian, it's so cool to be in the room and just see locals getting together, just witness the community and the atmosphere of that. So look up that bookshop. By the way, I'll put all these tips in the comments after the live is finished so that you can refer to them. And I'll put the links and things. But Todomodo. Another one is Cinema Odeon, and there they have just cool theater events and film events. So if you're in film, they show films in their original language. So that's an interesting thing to check out because it's also in an old theater, and it's really more something that locals do. And finally, Teatro del Sale. It's owned by someone that owns a few restaurants that are really, really good that locals love, like really high quality. And they decided to put this concept together to blend their passion for the arts and creativity and theater. And so you have kind of like dinner and then a show. So it's a really cool concept. It's a little bit outside the beaten track, and that's another great way to kind of immerse yourself with the locals and meet people. So that's tip number 1, catch local events. You can also check out meetups and things like that. I think local Florentines are not as accustomed to using Meetup, but there are meetups going on, so you might as well take a look and see what it is. If nothing else, I know they have a lot of language meetups, so if you want to meet new people, but you don't want to be worried about like the language barrier, that's a good one to do because the common language is English, so you'll get people that are like expats there. You get local Italians that just like meeting people from different places, and you all speak English, so that's a great way to meet people as well. Okay. Jana, hi, nice to see you here. Thanks for coming. Good to see your comments. Okay. All right, next tip. Next way to feel like a local in Florence. explore the Otranto area. So it literally means um, beyond the Arno, the other side of the river. Um, so that area is away from most of the tourist chaos of the central part of Florence. It's the area that is still very local. A lot of artisans have their studios there, and you can still, even though there are a lot fewer artisans left today, there's still a lot in that area. So you can just go over there, wander, get lost, stumble upon little artisan shops. And what it is usually they'll have their laboratory, their workshop, with like they combine like the workshop with the little shop. So you might feel like you can't walk in, you might feel like you're walking in on someone's studio, but know that they're usually set up in a way that they want you to come and buy directly from them. So you can always go in and check out what they're doing and see what they're selling and find something super unique outside of the tourist shops. So that area is my favorite part of Florence. I still have a lot more I need to discover more deeply in Florence, but Oltrarno is the area that I know best, and it is just so quaint. You know, you get away from the crowds, you can get lost in little side streets and discover beautiful little shops and just locals going about their day. And the cool thing is, it's you as a tourist, you won't miss Ponte Vecchio, which is the big famous bridge there. If you just keep going and start taking those little roads, you'll be on the right track. So it's not that far off the beaten track, but a couple of turns away from the crowds, and you'll find these areas with so many beautiful corners. So don't miss exploring Otranto. A few specific tips about Otranto, besides checking out the artisans, is there's a farmer's market in a piazza called Santo Spirito. And this piazza is just so beautiful, so charming and quaint, and um, it comes alive at night and in the evenings with locals, and like kind of a lot of students come there too. And it's just there's a fountain in the middle of the piazza, and people will go to one of the little bars along the sides, one of the little restaurants, and get a drink and just sit on the fountain or the piazza and meet people and hang out with their friends, and it's just really beautiful to witness. It's also a great area to go for an aperitivo. So there's a place there that does a great apericena. So it's kind of a concept where you get a drink, and with the drink you get access to the buffet, which is just what would you call it? I guess little appetizers, like an assortment of different appetizers, but you can eat all you want. So you can totally have dinner there for like $10 with a drink. Um, so that's a really great thing to do. The farmers market that I mentioned takes place in Piazza Santo Spirito, and there's a market there. Sometimes there's an antique. I think there's an antique market there. I know that there's a maker's market, so they'll have like a lot of handmade things, handmade soap, handmade toys, handmade jewelry, and along with that, homemade olive oil, homemade cheese, like all the good stuff, but like really local. So I love going to that market to buy gifts because you get something really unique and you get to meet the person that made it, and that makes it so much more special. And one thing I love to do is take a photo. When I buy something as a gift, I have found that I almost don't even buy gifts anymore, to be honest, because it's like they didn't go. What do they care about it? Like, sure, some olive oil, cheese, yes, but what makes it really special for them and helps them like realize and get on the same level. Like, I get excited about having bought something handmade from an artisan, and then thought of the person like, oh, this would be great for my brother, and then I give it to him and he's just like, cool, thanks, and he doesn't get, what an experience it was to meet that person. So what I do is I take a photo of the person that made it holding the object, and I include that in the gift. So that's just a little tip to try to make it a little bit more special for that person to connect with the experience that you had. Okay, so if you're liking these tips so far, give me a thumbs up so I know that this is hitting or missing, or if you're enjoying this. The next tip is to have lunch at a cafeteria style place instead of, um, Lindsay says, great tip. Thank you. Thanks, Lindsay. Thanks for being here. Ciao. Um, so have lunch at a cafeteria style place instead of a restaurant, or try street food. So let me digress into each of those options. So there are places like, actually grocery stores, to be honest, like the little markets. Usually if you go to the back, you go to the area where they are selling like the cheese and the part that's kind of behind the glass counter. A lot of times they'll have several like prepared dishes already, and you can go and tell them what you want. They put it into a to-go box, and it's great because, first of all, if you're vegetarian or vegan, you'll find a lot of like vegetable side dishes there. So that's a great way to eat more cheaply and to find things you can actually eat. And they're all like homemade style, so you're getting dishes that locals will come in and point to and be like, oh yeah, that's such and such, but it's dishes that you wouldn't normally find so often in a restaurant. It's kind of the homemade stuff that people make at home, and as a tourist you don't know about. So I love that tip because you save money and you get to eat, you get to try more, you can try a lot of more variety, and you get to have the homemade stuff. So definitely try that out. You can also take it to a park and enjoy a little picnic, make it a very European moment. So the other side of that tip is to try street food. So in Florence, if you really want to feel like a local, you can try lampredotto. Lampredotto is made from cow stomach, the fourth and final stomach of the cow, to be specific. And it's generally slow cooked with tomato and onion, parsley, and celery. And they say it has the texture of tender roast beef. You'll notice I said they say because I've not tried it. I don't eat red meat, first of all, so that's my out. I would try it. I just haven't had the opportunity. I'm sure I would, take a bite. You should always just try. But I just haven't really had a local with me forcing me to do it, right? And I'm not, it's not really the thing I would search out for myself on my own. But anyway, so it has the texture of tender roast beef, and it's traditionally served on a crunchy bun that they first kind of soak with the broth and with a spicy or a green sauce. So this is a typical street food in Florence. The locals love it. I'll let you know when I try it. Let me know in the comments if you would try it. Or if you've already tried it, I'd love to know. Okay, so moving on to tip number 4 for 5 ways to feel like a local in Florence. So after walking everywhere, because that's a tip within itself, is to walk everywhere, because that's how the Florentines do it. I've mentioned this in a previous live, but if a walk is 30 to 45 minutes away, they don't even think twice about it. If it's an hour, then they're like, okay, maybe we should drive, or maybe we should take the metro halfway or something, or the bus. But yeah, so after walking everywhere, you can catch your breath with a book and a coffee at Biblioteca delle Oblate. The Biblioteca delle Oblate is a library, and it's actually just a block or two away from the Duomo, so it's right in the center. It's just a little hidden library where students are studying, and you can go in, and if you manage to find your way through the maze of bookshelves and levels, you'll find yourself at the very top where they have kind of an open air level. It's covered, but it's open air, and you can see the Duomo. You have a beautiful view over the Duomo and the top of the dome. So a lot of people will go there just to have a coffee, have a great view. It's just a little hidden secret that not a lot of tourists know about, and it's a little quiet place where you can feel like a local and sink into the atmosphere, bring a book, catch your breath, and do some sketching or journaling. Okay, so tip number 5 is another really fun one. So I'll recap real quickly in case you've just tuned in. The first tip was to catch local events, and I'll give you some tips in the comments later about the specific places I mentioned. Number 2 was to explore the Otranto area beyond on the other side of the river, where a lot of artisans have their workshops, and there's Santo Spirito. The third tip was to have lunch at a cafeteria style place instead of a restaurant, or to try the local street food. Number 4 was to walk everywhere and then catch your breath with coffee and some journaling time at Biblioteca delle Oblate with a view over the Duomo. And number 5 is to check out the kioski. And kioski means kiosks. So they're these little places that typically open up during the summer months when it's warm and sunny outside, where you can catch a beautiful sunset aperitivo by the river or get an after dinner drink. So I actually recommend doing both. So I would start by having an aperitivo at one of the places with a sunset view. And then after dinner, go to a different of the places because there are so many. They're all along the river, and the best thing is most of them are kind of beyond where tourists would be willing to walk or wander. You have to know specifically that you're going to that place to end up there. So there are some that are a little more central and you'll get more of a mix of people, but there are some really great ones that are beyond the tourist zone and you can really feel like a local. There's some great ones that have live music. They're just really beautiful right by the river, and you can get drinks. Some of them have like different food stands you can go to and then sit at these tables outside. So it's just all about taking the open air and enjoying the beautiful summer moment with friends, and it's a great way to feel like a local. So I hope these were interesting for you. I hope you enjoyed it. I had so much fun reminiscing on all my days of trying to get to a point where I felt like a local and in Florence, and I'm grateful to all of my local friends that I met there that helped introduce me to these places and that allow me to share this with you now. If you have any ideas for other coffee chats that I could do, please let me know in the comments. And also, if you're watching this and you want to make sure you don't miss these in the future, I believe there should be a bell icon in the top, and you can click that and ask it to I think you click follow, and then it'll notify you. So there's also in the description a better explanation of how to do that, so check that out. And I hope you guys really enjoyed this. Please leave me a comment so I know that you came by, and I'll see you next week. Ciao!